that I've seen all of Phineas and Ferb the show, might as well review their latest movie, Candace against the Universe. Interesting choice for main character this time around. It'd kinda like be putting Ferb in the main roles, just a little weird. But she did look hilarious as a stormtrooper, so maybe her and sci-fi will really mix. Apparently it's been a long time since this crew has gotten together and worked on a Phineas and Ferb project, so keep in mind I am watching this right after I finished watching the entire series. With that said, I think Candace against the Universe is okay. It's by no means bad, but it's definitely not the best I've seen out of this crew either. They don't follow the traditional formula this time around, which is fine, they've changed things up like that before. But it doesn't quite feel as consistently funny as what I'm used to watching with Phineas and Ferb. But don't get the wrong idea, there are some really funny scenes in this movie. Candace is fed up that every single time Phineas and Ferb try to do something behind their parents' back, she tries to bust them and it never works. She feels she has maybe no place in the universe when suddenly, the universe answers. Aliens swoop down and abduct Candace, as well as Vanessa, Doofenshmirtz's daughter, and take them to visit their queen. Phineas, Ferb, and the gang see it happen and of course try to go save her. Seeing how Doofenshmirtz's daughter was also kidnapped, he decides to join along and they go into space to try and get them back. And of course Perry is kinda shoehorned in there because you need Perry, but he has to do all this without letting anyone know he's there, which, no, it's still Perry, he's always funny. When Candace gets to the alien planet, she discovers that she's the chosen one. She doesn't exactly know what that means, she's just so happy to finally have attention on her and obtain some sort of purpose for existing. But could there be more behind these aliens than they're letting on? Does Doofenshmirtz always end his inventions with an aider? I guess I won't go into spoilers, but there's not exactly a ton to spoil in it. You kinda know the aliens are up to something else, which is fine. It's not like story was the grandest thing with Phineas and Ferb. I mean, it was always kind of the same story. But the jokes are a lot more spaced out, and maybe that's because the characters are teamed up with different people this time. Doofenshmirtz's nemesis isn't really Perry as much as Isabella. Candace's focus isn't really as much on the brothers as much as these aliens. And I don't entirely know why Vanessa is there except to get Doofenshmirtz in the story somehow. And like I said before, the same can kinda be said for Perry. He has a few cool scenes, but he doesn't add that much. This becomes tricky because you have to know the show in order to watch this movie, and part of the humor of the show is these two stories are going on and they don't always interact off each other until they amazingly do, and then neither one of them is ever aware that they ever interacted. But again, it's a movie, it's changing things up, which is fine, but I feel like they've done other specials and even other movies where it seemed a lot bigger. It's been a lot more epic. There's been a lot more big changes and reveals, and maybe that's part of the problem. I feel like this series has already had several good finales. I mean, that 2D movie was great, the finale to the show was great. Even the longer specials I feel like could be a wrap-up to the show if they decided it to be. So the idea of doing a movie all these years later just focusing on Candace feeling inadequate is fine, I guess, but it's kinda hard not to compare it to those other really big projects that were super funny and had a much grander scale. I think if some of the additional characters were a lot funnier, maybe this would have balanced out a little bit more. Like the alien queen could be really funny. She's played by a really funny comedian, Ali Wong. And apart from a cute line here or there, she's not especially humorous or especially threatening. Even the master plan that the aliens have just kinda seems recycled from other master plans aliens have in other movies and shows. With that said though, there are still a lot of laughs in this movie that in my opinion make it all worth it. There's a great joke about what Candace's name sounds like to the aliens, which is later demonstrated over and over. The songs are once again really catchy and have some hilarious lyrics, and there's a joke about going double the speed of light that was so funny I dare not ruin it. Let's just say I was howling when I saw it. A part of me in a strange way almost feels like this movie would have done better if it was released on the big screen. I know that sounds weird because it's like, what, it's not as funny as the show, so why would you want a huger audience to see it? But I feel like the laughs are spaced out so much that anyone that wasn't familiar with the characters or this kind of humor would be given the proper space to laugh but also get involved in what the characters are going through. And with that said, the characters are still their likable selves. I mean, at the very end, when they have to kind of make amends, it's really sweet, like you would expect Phineas and Ferb and Candace to work out. Doofenshmirtz's rivalry with Isabella is out of nowhere, but it is still enjoyable. And of course, if you know the running jokes of the show, you're gonna get even more of the humor, where some newcomers might be a little lost. Full disclosure, when I saw the title of this, I thought maybe the idea was showing why the universe always works this way with this formula. Why do the boys never get caught? Why does Perry always win over Doofenshmirtz? Why do so many of these patterns repeat? I thought maybe they were gonna go to this alien world and find out it was all under their control, and I thought, man, that would really add some extra layers to this. But it just comes across as kind of a standard Disney Channel movie. But a Phineas and Ferb Disney Channel movie, I'm still down for seeing. They're still incredibly enjoyable, and even these writers, not necessarily on their A game, turn out some great laughs and character moments. So if you want to see Phineas and Ferb return in all their nostalgic glory, it's fine. If you're a diehard fan of the show, it's fine. If you're a newcomer who never heard of Phineas and Ferb, it's, yeah, you guessed it, fine. Is it the epic movie a lot of fans were probably expecting? Not really, but it's still a fun little adventure. Take a look on Disney Plus and see for yourself.